Okay, so thank you. So I just wanted to take a little time to tell you about what the How to Leverage White Privilege series is and what the platform is specifically in our Mighty Networks course. So Loving Healing Work has different How to Leverage White Privilege series. How to Leverage White Privilege was started because really Breonna Taylor, when Breonna Taylor died, it couldn't be another march. It couldn't be another just thing that I've done. I've led marches, I've talked to people, I've written policy, I've done all of those things. And so How to Leverage White Privilege came as a way of working to bring humanity into racism and talking about race, and not just humanity, but healing. Talking about race is really difficult. So How to Leverage White Privilege is a space for people that identify as being white to talk about whiteness, the role of whiteness, how it shows up, but with compassion and grace. And then how do you take this thing called privilege and utilize it to help those that aren't afforded that same privilege? And because I've experienced beings that identify as being white women put their whiteness on the line and acknowledge that I had the skills to lead experiences and make that acknowledgement in a room full of other white people who wouldn't have known about me but for them saying my name. I recognize the power of people who identify as white leveraging their privilege on purpose. And so this course, it's a course and it's a space. So there's a part series that meets live, and all the Zooms will be recorded and will live in that cohort section of their Mighty Networks. And also it's a space for people who are doing the work to just have like-minded people to talk to, and not have to worry about trolls and not have to worry about combating. It's a space to get resources, to do work, to have access to me, and concepts and ideologies. And so like once a month, there'll be just a How to Leverage White Privilege meetup and connection. And that's with everyone who's ever done the series and or thinking about doing the series, to just connect with me again around the material, around the work that they're doing, asking questions and knowing that there's a space to ask questions and to be seen and heard and protected. The 6-part series is just broken down. We start with consent. I Consent is a thing that we do at Loving Healing Work. We teach consent and non-harm first, because everything starts with you. And if you're not in consensual non-harmful relationship with yourself, then all the other concepts is really going to be difficult to comprehend, because you don't want to. If you don't want to, then don't. And so knowing when you want to and when you don't allows you to be in consensual relationship with yourself in a way that isn't harmful to us and others. So we talk about consent and non-harm, and then we talk about cultural mindfulness. And then we spend time talking about what it means to leverage one white's privilege, and then how to talk about the work. And we end on how to talk about the work, because what I found in this work is people that have white privilege want to know how to talk to other white people about white privilege, um, which is beautiful, and that's why I end on it. But it's the end, because if you are not willing to embrace yourself and have conversations with self, then you're not going to be able to talk to another white person about their journey of embracing whiteness. So it's 6 parts. And that 6 parts gives you access to Loving Healing Work Network, and the things that we do. So we have love and healing connections that are virtual. These connections they entail a sound bath and some sound healing, and you work through releasing things that no longer serve you. And that's a monthly thing. And that comes with a playlist that's been curated specifically for the experience. And you get access to that with the access to How to Leverage White Privilege Mighty Networks. So you'll be able to do some love and healing work with people who are not in the How to Leverage White Privilege platform. And you'll be able to do connection and healing work with people in the How to Leverage White Privilege platform. And resources that are utilized throughout the course will be placed there, articles, books, and then we'll even have space to just have conversations around materials and or thoughts, because having space to talk about it is how we create change. It's when we are not in space practicing the things that we're learning. It's how we don't get change. We're just thinking about it. And if we're just thinking, then that means we're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So this space is a space that was curated to learn, to connect, reflect, and practice. And it's something that you can come back to. So even if you can't attend the live courses, they're going to be available for you if that's what you want to do. It's an option. And so that's just how to leverage white privilege overall, which is one sector. And then we have another one, it's how to leverage white privilege in business, which is specifically around how in the business world do you maneuver and leverage one's white privilege. And then we have one is how to leverage white privilege in the healing space. And that one is for healers, spiritual advisors, individuals that are in spaces of healing and to do healing, to be able to know how to leverage their white privilege there. And each one rolls out. We do one like once a quarter. But again, they're specific to healing, business, and in general. And all of them will be on, like in the actual how to leverage white privilege platform of Mighty Networks. So you'll have access to them, even if you choose not to. If you wanted to do the one for how to leverage white privilege and spiritual and religious practices, you could. And then if you wanted to do one for how to leverage white privilege in business, the difference between the biggest difference is how to leverage white privilege in the healing is, I guess, more witchy. Like it's a more witchy realm. We get to really dive into the root of practices and spiritual practices and healing practices, and where they came from and how we honor them if they don't come from our own lineage. It's and business is more cognitive. So we're talking more from a policy perspective, how to change practices. But what leveraging white privilege and healing spaces, we really get into, talking about the yoga and the things, right? Where do they come from and how to honor certain aspects of the healing world in the Western world, and honor that there's still there's a whole lot of privilege there. And how do you leverage that privilege in a way that isn't harmful and honors the spaces in which that information comes from? And that's how to leverage white privilege in our series. And thank you for listening. Do you have any questions or comments?
I'm just super excited for all of this amazing content. Thank you so much. I'm really, really looking forward to participating in your community and diving in and continuing to learn, because I've been really enjoying learning and participating in this community so far. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's it. So we're going to roll out our next How to Leverage White Privilege course. Will be the new moon is September 25th weekend. And so we're going to roll out in October. And it'll probably be it's going to be the week of the full moon in October. And that is the week of the 9th. So that's when we'll roll out the actual course. So we're just seeking right now to get people to sign up. The idea is to at least to have at least 12, 7 to 12 people on a course would be pretty great. And we're going to start the course on October 6th, which is the Thursday before the full moon. And it will be in Central Standard Time. So it'll start at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be for 2 hours. And it'll be the first day is just the introduction, and we'll go over what we're going to cover in the course. And we'll get started a little bit into the material, but we don't really dive in. So it's really 7 connections, because the first one is more of an introduction and getting to know the work. And then the next 6 is actually doing the work and the practices. And so we'll meet live every other Thursday And then all the materials will be just in the Mighty Networks. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being here and just connecting and doing this work. You're amazing, and thank you so much.